Rediscovering Pedro Pascal, from the champion swimmer to humble waiter. Discover why fans love him even more. Get to know Pedro Pascal before he came on our screens and stole our hearts. Pedro Pascal is everywhere, from the Narcos, Game of Thrones, The Last of Us, and The Mandalorian. His acting has received numerous praises from fans and critics alike. With Pedro Pascal soaring to superstardom, many people first knew him from his roles on The Sassy of Bernie Martel or the DAI agent Javier Peña. But do you know that he used to be a professional swimmer in his childhood? Or that he used to wait tables while pursuing his acting degree? Here's a complete backstory to young Pedro Pascal before his fame. What did Pedro Pascal do before acting? When she was still a boy and was raised in San Antonio, Texas, Pedro Pascal used to be a competitive swimmer. And he didn't only play for the little leagues, mind you. Pedro even competed in the Texas State Swimming Championship when he was 11. Unfortunately, young Pedro Pascal stopped his swimming career when he joined drama class, claiming he was too lazy. Beside his past careers as a competitive junior swimmer, Pedro Pascal also used to work as a waiter while pursuing his acting degree at the New York University. In a lie detector test with Vanity Fair, Pedro admitted that he was not a good waiter. If I liked you, I liked you. If I didn't, he laughed. I was fired often, upwards of maybe close to 10 times, Pedro continued. Inside Pedro Pascal's friendship with Oscar Isaac. Let's be honest, Pedro Pascal and Oscar Isaac tight-knit friendship is probably one of the best things Hollywood get to offer. The pals met for the first time while doing an off-Broadway play in 2005 before uniting for another project, Triple Frontier, in 2019. In an interview with Esquire, Pedro affectionately stated how he was always be there for Oscar and even refused to respond to Oscar jokingly, claiming Pedro as being obsessed with him. In another interview, Pedro recalled his memory of working with Oscar during the play, whom he accused to be so naughty. He played a ghost, which meant that the living characters in the story could not see him. Pedro shared, "He's trying to get me to crack up or forgot my lines," he added, later stating that the memory was both dark and wonderful. Well, may this bromance last a lifetime and beyond that. When did Pedro Pascal start acting? Well, Pedro Pascal started acting in short movies in 1996. It wasn't until 3 years later when he secured a supporting role in an episode of the mainstream TV series Good vs. Evil. Later this year, he also appeared in 3 episodes of Undressed and an episode of the hit series Buffy the Vampire Slayers. Pedro continued to make brief appearances in various TV series and movies, including an episode of Touched by an Angel in 2000. For his role in the 90s and 2000s, he was credited as Pedro Balsameda, using his father's surname. From 2009 to 2011, Pedro Pascal was cast in the recurring role of Nathaniel Landry, an assistant state's attorney. He appeared in 4 episodes of the first season and 2 episodes of the second season of the series. Pedro was later cast in the pilot episodes for Wonder Woman TV series in 2011 as Eddie Dequilato, a police officer who also became Diana's license. Unfortunately, the show wasn't picked up. But surprise, after all, Pedro eventually starred in a Wonder Woman project, as he was cast as Maxwell Lord, the villain in Wonder Woman 1984. In 2013, Pedro starred in 4 episodes of Red Widow, portraying the on-screen husband of Jamie Ray Newsman character, before the series was eventually cancelled. He also secured the recurring role of an FBI-controlled office Juan Bandillo in the first season of Graceland and was killed on screen. Shortly after, Pedro was cast in the Game of Thrones as the central character in the series' 4th season. He portrayed Prince Oberyn Martell of Dorne, also known as the Red Viper. According to the Game of Thrones showrunners, Pedro managed to handle the job descriptions and portray the character how they wanted it, sexy and charming, yet believably dangerous. When asked about the casting, Pedro Pascal admitted that he was already aware of as a fan of the series, so joining the cast ensemble for the entire season was really surreal and a little overwhelming for him. Pedro Pascal became an overnight sensation after he portrayed real-life DEI agent Javier Peña in the hit series Narcos. The audience loved his performance in the first 2 seasons, of the point that Netflix had him return for the 3rd season to take down the Cali cartel, which the real-life Javier Peña didn't do. While in the series final, Pedro's character had a conversation that implied his possible involvement in taking down Mexican drug cartels. He turned down the offer to reprise his role in Narcos Mexico. His decision came shortly after the news of the tragic death of Carlos Muñoz Portillo, a Netflix location scout in Mexico. Pedro stated that the incident was a tragedy and that the show shouldn't be continuous. It's not safe. Pedro began to earn recognition from his acting in big screen films after he starred opposite Matt Damon, William Dafoe, and Andy Lau in 2016 movie The Great Wall. He also starred as one of the main characters in the action movie Triple Frontier, reuniting him with the best pal Oscar Isaac. Pedro is true to his words when he says he will always be there for Oscar, as he joined his best pal in the Star Wars universe in 2019 with his role as the Mandalorian. While his armor in the series became an instant hit among fans, Pedro revealed that he can't see while wearing them. It's like going blind, he said in an interview with Empire. You breathe completely fogs up the narrow slit that you can see through, Pedro added. Beside his costume, Pedro also feels uncomfortable with his Mandalorian voice, especially when he isn't wearing the armor. In the upcoming interview on the Graham Norton show, he admitted that the voice sounds inappropriate off-screen because it's a breathy, low register bedroom voice. Another reunion project he's currently working on is the series adaptation of the video games The Last of Us, which reunited him with his Game of Thrones co-star Bella Ramsey. The series instantly became a hit. With the significant success of the first season, it was predictable when HBO Max announced that they renewed the show for the 2nd season. While in the actual game, Pedro's character remains the main character, many fans wonder whether he will be featured in, considering that Pedro has become one of the most sought actors in Hollywood. Some fans even predict that Pedro's character will die on screen as in the original video game, which will help Pedro avoid future scheduling conflicts. Well, let's wait and see how it turns out, shall we?